This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So there is this phrase. I am not the biggest fan of the phrase, but it is so appropriate in today's market. So appropriate because oftentimes sellers are wanting to sell their house for more than what their neighbor sold for last year, but that is just really not the reality. And the phrase is, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered.
Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So can you explain what that means?
So pigs, meaning, hey, you know what? You want to eat, you want to have a good amount, but not get greedy. You'll have enough, right? You'll have enough. But if you try to push it the extra little bit, if you get greedy, then that's when you get slaughtered.
I just would not want to be referred to as a pig.
I know, that's why
I just don't think that's a positive.
That's why I don't like it. I think it's a horrible phrase. But I don't know of a different one. So if you're listening and you have a better phrase, please send them my way. But what that has to do with people in today's market is we have on the show today. She was actually one of the top-rated guests all of 2024, so all of last year. And it's Miss Liz Andersen with Reverse Mortgage.
Surprise, surprise.
Who would have thought reverse mortgage was going to be like the barn burner?
Yeah, no doubt. I'm glad. When you sent me that message, I was actually I was at the airport and I got your voice message and I was like, wait, what? I need to listen to that again. So I was surprised, but hey, it's educational. That's what I always, like to say. It's all about just educating, re-educating.
It's educational and it's different. Mm-hmm. So people know about, hey, a typical lender or a home inspector. But what most people don't realize, and I think what was surprising about your show, are all the different ways people can use reverse mortgages.
Yes, definitely. Because people are still stuck in, your granddad's reverse mortgage, and it's not that way anymore.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that. So most people have there's this stigma around reverse mortgages. Because you're in this every single day, what are some of the reasons why, like hesitancies that people have around reverse mortgages?
Still, that good old one is, I don't want to do that loan because the bank owns my home.
They feel like they have like a lack of control.
Yeah, I feel like they feel like there's something behind the scenes that they don't know about, or that is tricky, or just I don't trust it. I think it's more of a trust thing because, you have a mortgage. Mm-hmm. Doesn't the bank literally kind of own your home too?
Yep.
So how would you respond to that concern? Oh, I don't want the bank owning my home. What do you tell them? Look at Johnny.
The bank does not own your home. It is like any other debt that you have with the mortgage. At the end, the balance gets paid off versus right now when you have a traditional loan, you're making payments as it goes along.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to pay that debt off. So on a reverse mortgage, it's in the end. When the home gets sold, that's when the bank gets their money.
So with the traditional home, you have the control. It's your home. You can control who can be there. You can control what the home price is. You can control when it sells. You have control over that property. Same thing with reverse.
Correct. You can sell if you get a reverse mortgage today and you want to sell 5 years down the line, which I wouldn't recommend. It's a long-term or last loan you should have. You have the same opportunity to do that. You just pay off whatever the reverse mortgage balance is at the time, and you walk away with no penalty and the remaining equity in your home.
And let's say this is the last home you have. What happens after you pass?
So I always recommend that there be a trust in place. Mm-hmm. In the case that you have a trust, then your heirs would be the ones that would decide what they want to do with that home. Most heirs will list it with Johnny.
There you go. Thank you, Liz. Come back anytime.
And after that balance is paid off through the sale, there is no penalty, as I mentioned before. Whatever equity is left over goes to the heirs as a trust would read.
Okay, so if they didn't want to sell it, they would just have to refinance.
Correct. Yeah. Into a loan, pay off the reverse mortgage, keep the home. Or in the case where, let's just say, the borrowers got a reverse mortgage at a very young age, and they lived in that home, let's say 30 years, because people are living longer these days. Mm-hmm. And they used up all of the equity in the home. And let's just make it worst case scenario. It's upside down. at the time that the last person vacated the home, the balance of the loan is higher than the value of the home. So it's essentially a short sale. It's still a good listing for a realtor to take. There is FHA and insurance associated with reverse mortgages, the majority of them. And so in the end, the heirs are not responsible for that loss. FHA mortgage insurance comes in and makes the lender whole and pays that shortage off. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so basically, the number one fear that people have is that I don't have control. The bank has control over my house. And especially when you're wanting to die there, that might be the last place. You never want to leave there. There's so many people. I don't know why, but it just seems like a lot of my interactions lately have been with people who are very, very, they don't want to move. And they are going to die in that home, and they hope they never go into like a care facility.
Yeah.
And so...
Or how do you handle the emotion of leaving a home to my kids?
Well, okay, so you probably don't want to ask me that, because here's what I tell people, especially right now in where we are with this economy. I was reading an article last week. It was called The Poor Millionaire, and it is that cliche
House.
it's like house rich, cash poor. And people are eating top ramen every day because, their home is free and clear and they want to leave that home to their heirs. What kind of quality of life are you living if you're not using your biggest asset to leverage life in this economy and everything that has gone up? And, Social Security doesn't go up
Right. Exactly.
every year. So you can pass on generational wealth through a reverse mortgage. If you want to do a reverse mortgage and you own your home free and clear, and you know what? I'm going to get $300,000 out of this reverse mortgage. I'm going to give, two of my kids $50,000 now. That is their inheritance, and I'm going to live off of the rest.
That's interesting.
I mean, we've seen people do that. People will do that and be like, you know what? I need to get rid of my payment. I'm going to pass down your inheritance now while I'm still alive. I could see you enjoy it. I could see you buy a house. I could see you do all these things, and I could live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
Like
And once it's all said and done, the kids still have a say in the property, and the parents don't have a payment typically on that.
What do you mean by that? Explain that.
Okay, so they don't have a principal and interest payment because the goal with the reverse mortgage is that to not have a principal and interest payment moving forward. Now, they're still responsible for property taxes, homeowners insurance, and if they live in a place that has HOAs, they still have to continue to pay those things. But the whole goal of having a reverse mortgage is zero principal and interest payment.
So oftentimes people want to pay off their property because they don't want to have a monthly payment in retirement. And so now let's say you're 70, 80 years old and life has taken a different direction and you need some money. You can go out and get a reverse mortgage, and there's ways you can either get monthly payments, right, or a lump sum.
Correct.
Or can you do both? Or?
So actually, depending on the program that you choose, the way that the funds are dispersed is either monthly payment, you can get a line of credit or a lump sum, or a combination of all three things within one of the program options. Now, there's another program option that only offers you a lump sum. So there are different programs, different ways, and different payment disbursements that you can choose from. But the most widely used one is actually, you're going to be surprised, the adjustable reverse mortgage, because it gives you the flexibility to choose all three options. And then while you have the reverse mortgage in place, you can change it as things change in life.
So if you need more cash, you can have a larger withdrawal.
Correct.
And then have that monthly stipend. But the point is that what's beautiful about this is that typically if you get like a home equity line of credit, or you have a credit card, or you need some funds, you have to repay that. There's a monthly cost associated with that.
Correct.
With the reverse mortgage, there is not.
Correct.
And actually, when we come back, we're going to be talking about how you can actually buy some homes without having a monthly payment.
So there's a lot of great summer movies out in the theaters, and my kids want to see pretty much every single one of them, but I am a conservative. I am a fiscally conservative, I would say frugal person. So you know what I do? Before we go out into the theaters, I go to Rotten Tomatoes and I check the reviews. I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend all this money on a movie, that it's going to be something I'm going to enjoy. So I check the reviews. And that's what we recommend you do when it comes to hiring or someone to help you sell your home or purchase a home. Go check the reviews. For instance, our friend Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty, he has over 1,000 five-star Google reviews, more than anyone else in our area. So if you're curious about who you're going to trust, do the research, do your investigation, go find out, go read some of these reviews about Johnny Jennings and the amazing job that he and his team do in selling your home with Made for More Realty. In fact, listen to this. They have this program where they're going to offer you at least three cash offers on your home in as-is condition. No showings, no staging, no costly home repairs. 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. Just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.